What is up, Cards Chat? Matt Vaughan here for another breakdown video. This is going to be a little different than normal. I recently made the final table of a circuit event. So yeah, we're just going to go over every hand of the final table. I believe this is the start of the final table. You can see we go from 5-handed back to 8. This is an 8 max. So I think that means we were 5-handed, 4-handed, and then got down to final table. If I'm wrong, this might technically be final 2, but I believe this is right. Yeah, we're going to just kind of go through every hand, and we'll breeze through a lot of the pre-flop. Obviously, that's not that interesting, but some of it will be interesting. Not a ton to talk about with the pay jumps. It is 50K up top, and I think we have something like 4 or 5K locked up here. Maybe a bit more. Maybe more like 6 or 7. I'm honestly not that sure. But the pay jumps are pretty typical of the site, and I don't think there's too much to go into there. But we are in an ICM environment. So yeah, depending on the length of this video, how long it's starting to take, might split it into 2 parts. Probably not 3, but we'll see. So without further ado, let's get into it. Also, the hand replayer is not the best. You have to like click through all these antes and stuff. Here we have an open from under the gun, very clear fold in the small blind. So we'll move on. What do we got here? Jack 7 off. If it folds to us, we are chip leading here, although we're basically tied with a couple of the opponents here and here. So I think that we have some options. I think opening could be pretty good. We apply a lot of pressure to both of the blinds. I decided to fold. I think that's not great, but not the end of the world. Here I think we have 6 deuce off, so we're just going to fold the cutoff, and it's opened anyway. 6-5 off from the hijack. I don't think we can open this, and in particular, if we fold the Jack 7 on the button but open this, it would be kind of inconsistent. So I'm kind of happy to say I folded. It was also a chip leader big blind, so not as good of a spot. Ace King, very clear open. I think we can probably just min raise here. No real reason to go bigger, so I like this. We get an all in from the button, who they're tight. They're definitely tight. I was not happy that they jammed, but we cannot fold. And we end up getting lucky to score the knockout and go down to 7-handed. So that's always nice to see. I hope this clicking sound isn't as annoying for you as it is for me. It might be quiet with my microphone, but it's annoying. It's annoying on my end. Ace 8 suited in the low jack. We have somebody we cover in the big blind, and we're now we actually cover everybody now. So by a significant amount. I'm sorry, I don't know what my dog's doing. Yeah, she was getting into trouble. Anyway, like this open, not much to say there. Small blind defends. We get a flop of Jack 9-4, 1 diamond. I think we should definitely be c-betting here. Even though Jack high boards are going to connect with small blind call ranges quite a bit, we just have like the ability to make him fold ace high. We can make him fold like maybe some small pocket pairs across multiple streets, and our hand has such good barrel ability, so I don't really like this check back after the fact, but that's what we did. You can see we got one of those cards that would have been a really good barrel. He bets 95K, and it's like, I mean, I don't really love jamming because it feels like we mostly get him to fold hands that we are ahead of. So I think call is good. River is a 7, and he bets again, and I think now we probably just have to fold. It'd be more interesting if he had a little more behind. We could probably consider just jamming, knowing that it's hard for him to have a lot better than like 1 pair. A lot of the pocket pairs just go with it pre, so it'd be kind of interesting, but I think fold is pretty good as played, but definitely a missed opportunity there not betting the flop. It feels like we might have won this hand had I played it a little differently. This one, Jack 8 off under the gun, a little too weak. So I like the fold. This one we are in the big blind with ace jack offsuit. Small blind limps, and we're quite deep, so there's room to play here. It's not like raising commits us. Definitely would like to see a raise to maybe 3.5, maybe 4x. So I like the size. Just get the fold though. 8-4 offsuit facing an open in the small, easy fold. 7s on the button, easy open. I don't think we need to go bigger than min here. It would probably be fine, but it just seems unnecessary. Like we're already committed against the small blind pretty much. So yeah, I just think min is probably more efficient. Check, and I think that we don't have to c-bet range on this board. We're not really going to get called by a lot of worse hands. There's some 4x, but not a ton. There's a ton of 8x, straight draws that won't fold, Jack X. So we're not really like denying much equity, and we put it in against better hands a lot. You could maybe argue we get like ace high to fold some, but I think check back is fine. Turn is set, and he bets. I like this raise. I think that we just beat so many hands in range. All the Jack X, all the 8X. We lose to 10-9, 5-6 technically, but like they're just not that frequent. And there's just so much other stuff in range. Flush draws we can still get value from. And we want to set up a size that lets us go all in. So actually, I like the size. If he calls, it's like pot will be 770 and he'll have about 500. So this is pretty close to like a geometric size, which I think is good. He just folds though, and the run good continues. I think we should just fold to this open. If we're gonna do anything, it would be 3-bet though. I think it could. I think it's like not the end of the world 3-bet, but it's definitely pretty far out there. So just folds is fine. This hand I like just checking. We don't really get a lot of worse 7x to call, 6x to call. Better will probably call always, and sometimes we get limp raise on. So I don't really like this raise. I think check is probably better, but we just get a fold. Granted, the fact that he's limp folding a good amount would lean me more on folding, raising a hand like this, but Jack 4 offsuit, clear fold versus the open, and a clear open again. Again, I use the biggest size, which again, we're committed against this already. So we just get it in and do not win. So we get to double up the guy on our left. Folding against the open with the Jack 4. Next hand, pocket nines, clear open. I would just open min here. I don't really think we need to do this. Get jammed on, and it's not super fun, but we just can't fold. He's gonna have 8s through maybe like 6s or 5s. He's gonna have 2 overcards. He's gonna have maybe sometimes like ace 9 suited or worse and things like that. So he actually has an ace 4 suited, which is like pretty out there, I think, when he's sort of back in it with his stack size, but he gets there. So unfortunately, we were steamrolling this final table and just got cut way down. So it's important to just recognize that our position at the table is not as good as it was. But we're still in okay shape. We're like 4th in chips, third in chips, like pretty much tied for 3rd in chips. And we just got to play our stack size now. So we have 1.3 mil. So we're looking at right around 40 big blinds. I think the king 10 off can be an open here. Yes, this player is now close to us in chips, but we covered the big blind by a lot, and the button has not been really getting after it. So I think we have the opportunity to open here, but I missed the open. So now on to the next one. Jack 10 suited, definitely good open. Blinds are up, so this is min now. Big blind defends. King, queen, 8. Yeah, I like a bet. I mean, we probably don't need to go this big. And check back would also probably be okay. We don't really like want to get check raise, but I also don't think we get check raise too often in an ICM dynamic, especially 1/3. Actually, 1/3 is probably okay. Could maybe even go smaller. Turn is probably just going to be a check. I don't really want to. Now we really don't want to get blown off for equity. Just one card to come. So if we get check raise, we probably can't continue. We're also up against somebody who covers us. So it's like putting in a significant amount of our stack against somebody who we can't threaten their stack is a little questionable. I did decide to go for it here, but I think in retrospect, I would like a check back. It does end up getting through though, and we get to chip up. So a little bit lucky there. I mean, every spot we win is pretty much somewhat lucky. I think against 2.5x, we could just fold. Like, it's okay, but I just think that preserving the extra 1.5 big blinds when he opens to this size is a little bit better. There's going to be a lot of boards like this where we just always have to check fold. And that's what we do. We see an open. We could maybe just jam this. I think jam could be pretty good. We're like 20, what is that, 27, 28 bigs against the big blind effective, and we are 17 bigs or so effective against the opener, who is technically like middle position. We apply a lot of pressure. Call is like okay. It'll do fine, but I think all in is just going to kind of print money here. Flop top pair could maybe lead. There's worst 10x that we can target, 9s, 8s, 7x from the big blind, 6x from the big blind. you know, it's going to get checked through a pretty non-zero amount. And so I wouldn't mind a lead, but we check and it does check through. Turn is a queen. Could maybe bet here, get value from diamonds, from king jack, from ace king, from ace jack, ace nine, ace eight. But I think check is fine. We allow the big blind to do this at a higher frequency. So we check call, definitely not check racing. And on a river, 6 of diamonds, pretty bad card. I think that most people probably don't bet a 6 on turn from the big blind, but they probably can. Sort of as like equity denial, sort of as like maybe setting up a bluff on certain runouts with some 6x combos. But I don't think he has that too often. It's more like the diamonds that are concerning. But he just gives up, and we are not put to the test, which is really nice. I actually think he had a pretty good hand to go for it with. Blocks king queen, blocks king 10, blocks 9-8. He doesn't block diamonds, but like, yeah, I think that in general, he's gonna have to find some bluffs that don't have a diamond in them, and this is probably one of the better ones to do it with. But we get to take this one down. Pretty lucky again. Here I think we can open. We now cover the small blind by quite a bit. We cover the big blind by a lot, and we just get to apply pressure, but I end up folding. I think it's okay. I mean, it's like definitely near the bottom, but I think it would be an okay open. Against 2.5x is probably just a fold. If he were deeper and it was a smaller open, we could maybe 3-bet, apply some pressure. But I like this fold. 8 deuce offsuit is going to be a fold. 9-8 offsuit, also a fold. I like that. 6-3, also a fold. Now we're in the big blind. 10-8 off. We could maybe just fold this. I think that this player has limp folded a couple times, so his raises look to me most likely to be a little bit stronger. I end up calling. I don't really love this, but let's see what happens. A lot of boards like this. He checks, and I think a stab is like okay. I don't like checking. I mean, it's like if we get this hand to this board, we just kind of have to stab. Like, what are we really hoping to have happen? I think I kind of had the thought process that I had now reviewing it pre-flop on the flop of like, yeah, his range is probably strong and he's probably a little showdown driven now on this board, a lot of ace high that I can't get to fold on one street. But he checks, and yeah, now it's a mandatory stab. I think the size is okay. We could probably go bigger though. I think we want to go bigger with like a 7, even a 5 that we check back. We probably want to go like more closer to half pot. He calls, and that's a little bit problematic. River's an ace, and I think like because of the size we chose on turn, he has more just like ace x and 4x than he, well, I mean, he has 4x anyway, but yeah, I think he just has an ace a lot and a pair a lot that won't fold. So I think we just give up. He does have ace 6. Wow. Okay. We probably weren't getting that hand fold even at half pot. So we saved money. Facing an open and a 3-bet, easy fold. Open and a 3-bet, easy fold. I think versus 2.5x cutoff, this is a fold. He's just not really deep enough for us to get involved with suited gappers. Just too weak. So I like that fold. Like that fold as well. 8-6, definitely a fold. Now a real hand, pocket queens, and we're down to 5-handed as well. There's an open. This is pretty awkward. I think we could 3-bet small to get it in, maybe like 4x. Roughly 4x, go like 400k, and call off. 370, okay. I mean, probably a little too small. Encourages calls a little too much. We would like to see jams and folds more, I would say. But this is probably fine. Easy fold. They get it in. Let's just see what happens here. Open jams like 26 big blinds, by the way. That's a little optimistic for sure. So now we're 4-handed. Fold the 4-3 against an open. I think that's good. It's just pretty hard to play, and he's got the chip lead. We don't really want to be getting involved. Oops, let's see. 9-5 off, easy fold. 9-7 off in the big blind. This is pretty marginal. I think we could just fold. Like, I think we defend this one. Oh, we do fold. I like this. I like this fold a lot because it just feels like the type of hand where we need a little bit less ICM pressure. Even though we cover him, we can maybe apply pressure in some spots. Like, we're kind of gonna hit all the boards that he expects us to hit and that he'll be afraid of from where he's opening from. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it's gonna, the playability of it's pretty bad. So I like that fold. The stack dynamics pretty interesting here. We now are second in chips, but like first is way above us here. We could limp jam this or raise call off. I mean, honestly, like anything looks good with a hand like this. I end up just open jamming, which I think is probably overkill. It's not going to perform badly. It's a 21 big blind jam or whatever, but probably limp jam or raise call off is better, I would think, just because the hand's almost too strong to just open jam. Like we might make him fold fours, threes, deuces, where if we raise, those might jam kind of thing. So we're almost like want to be a little trappier. But I think raising is probably slightly better than limping, simply because I don't think opponents are really going for it enough in these spots. I don't think they're gonna, like, if we just limp, we have to play so many flops where sixes is like good, but it's much better all in pre than it's gonna be, like just seeing a flop essentially. So it's a long-winded way of saying I like raising or jamming a little better than limping. Clear fold. This one is also clear fold, especially into the chip leader's big blind. All right, I would check this. They have limp folded a lot, but I think that I think check is just going to do better because the hands that we get to continue are largely like dominating us, and the hands we get to fold are weird. Like not that. I mean, we get hands to fold that we're not dominating, obviously, but like 10 deuce might limp fold, but like Jack 10 is never limp folding. 10 9 is never limp folding. 10 8 is never limp folding. Yeah, I like this check. I think that's probably good. I like raise a little better with the 10 of clubs. We block a ton of the continues. We have a lot of good barrel cards, so I think raise is probably better. Call, I mean, I wouldn't fold, but call seems fine. He checks, and now I think we probably have to blast a little bit here. Probably go like 2/3, half pot maybe. I think a third is too small. Like I get what I'm trying to do here. I think I'm trying to like represent any like one pair hand, but it does actually work, and he will fold like ace high, king high sometimes, like a king 4 suited or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think we need to bet a little bigger. I think we need to bet bigger there. Oh, I'm sorry, we got 10-3 off again. Easy fold. 7-10 off on the button. I think this is just gonna be a fold. I think it's just a hair too weak. But I guess if my opponents are playing straightforward, it can't really be bad. Cut off on the chip leader big blind. Jack 6 off, definitely a fold. So I like this. 10-8 off. Again, this is one of those very cuspy hands. Yes, it's the button opening, but he's going 2.5x, not min. And like if you look how much he has behind, it's not a lot of playability. So I like fold a little better after the fact. Too many boards like this. He bets almost half pot again, and we just fold. Yeah, we just like give him an extra big blind and a half that we didn't need to. Easy fold. Ace Jack of diamonds. I think we have options here. I mean, I think we're 30 bigs effective, and like we do out chip both other players other than the chip leaders. So it's kind of tragic to get it all in here and be wrong. To get it in and lose is pretty sad. So I think I like call. I did just go all in game thinking it would work at a very high frequency, which it will, of course. And it does, but I think that flatting is fine. We have plenty of playability behind, and like if somebody wakes up with a big hand behind us, maybe we can like call fold. Not really sure about that part, but if it goes like he opens, we flat, there's a jam, and the opener calls or rejams or whatever, it's then a pretty happy fold, frankly. Open, I like this. Big blind defends, who's the chip leader. Flop open-ended. I think that against chip leader, I'd probably sometimes check this, but I think a bet is fine, but I would bet bigger. Like we should probably be betting 40% to 60%, something in that range, just because we won't bet this board at a mega high frequency. It's just like too connected. And connects with a lot of his flats. So I think that, yeah, a bigger bet kind of makes sense. But wow, it gets through. So that's pretty wild. Pocket queens in the big blind again. Maybe even the same pocket queens. He's 20 bigs effective. I mean, we could try to 3-bet small, but I think we're just all in here. Yeah, I like that. If he wasn't the chip leader, I'd be tempted to 3-bet this, but I like fold. Fold. Yep. Should fold this. Yeah, I mean, against the chip leader big blind, I think this is like a little questionable. It might be okay. It's definitely the bottom though. And then, yeah, and then the problem is like this board comes, like I have to bet. And also you notice like I bet 20% on the, I ended up betting 20% on the other board that was like more connected. And on this board, I bet bigger. So it just like doesn't really make sense. He calls, we make a pair and kind of have to check now because like we might have showdown value. And also like we just don't have a very good hand to barrel with as well. Check, and like I just check and hope to beat, I don't know, like king, queen or something with a club. But he has an ace. That somehow didn't bet river, by the way, which is pretty nuts to me. So we kind of got off the hook there, I think, from a tougher decision. Probably would have just been a fold though. No, I would defend this. I was trying to think if we could jam, but I think it's maybe a little excessive. Check, check, turn ace. Pretty bad for me when he has a check back on this flop. I think he has a lot of ace high, so we just give up now. Easy fold. Let's see, we're 19 bigs or something. 16, what is that, 16, 17, 18? Yeah, probably unnecessary. I think just min raise is going to perform fine. This will obviously work a ton, but it's a lot of big blinds to risk. Like if somebody doubles through us, we're now the short stack by a significant amount. So I think min raise is better. I would fold this for the, yeah, I was gonna say I would fold this for the same reasons I would fold the 6-4 suited. And again, I would fold this, but it just gets jammed on anyway. Easy fold. And a player's been eliminated. So now this is gonna be an easy fold. I think I opened this one. I just thought he was folding too often and I was just gonna print, but like this is just too weak. We probably get to open like, I don't know, 50% of hands or something in that neighborhood, but not like 80% of hands or whatever this is. So I don't like it. Obviously we get called. Easy c-bet on the flop as played, but we get check raised, and I don't know how. It's really interesting. I always end up with these like weird paired boards versus him somehow, and he just like ends up winning every single one of them. But down to three-handed, got to get in the streets, but I think that one's just too weak. We kind of get the double button here and find the fold this time with the very similar hand. We are now last in chips. I believe Crooked has doubled or something like that, or maybe he stacked the other player. I don't remember. This is a fold. Yeah, we're not going to play this profitably against the chip leader. When we're last in chips, we're just better off conserving. 20 big blinds. This is probably a good limp jam candidate. Raising isn't awesome. We don't get like a ton of hands we dominate to continue. Limping is nice because we keep in weaker diamond hands that would never raise. We keep in like all the deuce X hands that we're dominating, we can't dominate ace X, but whatever. We get raised, so I do like continuing with the jam, which I do, and I get the fold, so that's pretty cool. 7-3 off is going to be a fold. I like that. 8 deuce off in the big, going to be a fold. 6-4 off, fold to the open. Easy, very easy. This one I would probably just min raise. I end up starting to implement a limp strategy here. I would have liked to see myself continue min raising for a little bit longer, just because we were getting a good amount of pre-flop folds. And then this sometimes happens. I think now we can probably just jam. I don't think limp call is going to do great, because like once we stuff in another 200K, pot's going to be at least 600K, and we're only going to have 1.1 mil. So if we like flop an ace, we just kind of have to go broke, and we'll be dominated a good amount. And if we don't flop an ace, it's pretty hard to win the hand. There are some boards that we do okay on. So I don't really like my limp call here. I think limp jam will work well, but even just a min raise pre-flop probably prevents us from even being in this spot in the first place. But we get very lucky. He bets 1/3, and now we just want to be all in. We want to realize all our equity. We can get him to fold a ton of like hands that are technically better than ours. Like we can get him to fold ace 8+ or something like that. That he probably shouldn't c-bet, but most likely will. Could also get it in dominating positions sometimes if he ever has like king 4 or queen 4 suited. He might not, but that's a good reason to put in a raise here. So very fortunate one there to bring us out of last place. I think we should definitely fold this. He's opening too big again. He could just go min. And even against min, I think this is probably fold. This is really scraping the bottom of the barrel of big blind defends. And again, we just have to check fold. At some point, like, we should probably just go after him. He keeps going for these like half pot, 2/3 sizings, and he just can't always have it. And most of the time he won't. Like, forget having it all the time. He'll almost never have it, to be honest. Oops. They could probably just call here. We're like 30 bigs effective. Call or maybe even small 3-bet to fold could be okay. This will work a lot, obviously, though, so I can't really hate it. 6 deuce off on the button is a good fold. I wonder if I can get us down to the end here. This is probably also just a fold. Very cuspy, but probably a fold. Could maybe even jam instead of calling, but I don't really love calling. And somehow he just gets every paired board. I don't understand it. I truly don't. This one is probably just gonna, like, I should just check raise his face here because, like, at least I have a king where, like, if I make a top pair, it's often the best hand sort of thing, but I just give it to him. King 7 off, raise. I kind of like limp instead. This feels like the exact hand class where, like, he'll fold some weaker King X and call all the better King X, but I don't hate it since he's been folding a lot to opens. This one, we're continuing with the trend of limping, but again, I'd probably have some open raises here, including this hand. We stab, which seems fine, I guess. Turn king, I think we have showdown value, so we don't, like, we beat hands like 5-6, 8-6, 8-5, some like 2 overcard plus backdoors. So I like this check. He checks, and I think we just try to win a showdown now, which we do not. But again, this player has not been value betting thinly, so it's like a little scary. Sometimes if we bet, we just get snapped off by hand that should have bet itself. So it's a good reason to check back. Have to fold, obviously. I like limp here for the same reasons that we just talked about with the King 7 off, but I do actually find limp this time. Don't really like stab. I think queen high is going to beat so much of his range that we can just check, but he ends up folding. Here we just open jam 30 bigs. I don't think this is necessary at all. Again, I think we can just min raise. Maybe even just limp jam instead. That'd be fine too. Since we've been limping, that is. Whoops, sorry. I would check this one against chip leader. I hope that's not as loud for you as it is for me. Yeah, we have to give up on that board. That's good. Jack 7, I also like a limp. Similar reasoning as before, but we get it through. And the fact that he's folding this much means my actions are kind of okay. All right, Jack deuce off, I like the fold. 7-8 off. I think we probably just actually could fold to the open. It's too big. We get to punish that open by being a little tighter. Here, he's a little shorter now. This jam looks pretty good to me. Just get a ton of hands to fold. Not super playable. Jack 3 offsuit, easy fold. 8-5 off, we get a walk. You love to see it. Beautiful outcome. We could just jam this, I think. I mean, it's like, this limp is okay. I think it's somewhat similar to the Queen 10, but maybe just enough weaker that a limp is better. This kind of stinks, but we sort of have to call against that size. We make a gutter, but he bets big, so we have to fold. I think if we had a spade, we could probably continue in some manner, but it's very awkward with his stack depth, so part of why jamming is sort of a nice pre. Could probably min raise here still, and we decide to limp. I think we just stab flop. I don't really think there's a reason to check back. Our hand's really not good enough to check back. And we just face this bet, and with the worst end of the gutter, we have to fold. Get another walk. God, you just love to see walks in this. I like jam here. I don't like min. I don't like small raise because, like, it leaves the door open for him to jam, and then we kind of hate it. We probably have to fold. So jam or limp definitely seems better. Okay, I mean, I don't mind that we're limping this, but I think we could still be min raising, as I mentioned several times. Got a limped pot. They both check, and so, like, now this board's just so much better for our range. I think we have to bet. I think the min bet is good. We don't really have to risk more. Our whole range pretty much wants to bet this size, I would say. And we just get it done. And that's an easy fold. They did not get it in, though. Here, I think we could limp. Yeah, I like that. And again, against this size, really awkward, but I do decide to fold this time. I think it's okay. It's okay. Don't love it. 8-6 off, fold, easy. Ace 3 off. I think we just get this in. Yeah, I like that. Ace 10. Unfortunate. kind of a cooler, to be honest. And he does get it done. So we are now back into last place. However, on this next hand, we have sub 13 big blinds. We open jam. He calls off with a dominated hand. Oh, you can't see what he has. I just realized you haven't been able to see what he has. He's pocket nines. God, I can at least, man, that's brutal. I apologize for any of the hands that were hard to see before. Okay. Somehow when I tweaked my setup, it just like stopped my recording. So you guys didn't get to see a couple of the hands that just went down, but now you can at least see what he has. He has nines. We end up doubling through. I have to re-record some of these ones, unfortunately for me, but that's okay. We will power through. Like 7-6 fold, king 4 off, fold. Yeah, that look. Queen 9 could limp, could jam. I think both are good. Don't really love the in-between size. Like it's pretty annoying to raise call off or raise fold. Jack 6 off should just fold. Don't really like this. Yeah, don't really like this. Just too weak. Check. We have to stab medium size now. I think the size is okay as played. We get raised and have to fold. That's a pretty unfortunate one, actually. I like this check. I don't think we should be trying to ISO against the big blind, or excuse me, against the chip leader in the small blind. And obviously on ace high board is a pretty big advantage. We just fold. I like a limp here. Nice. Okay. We should fold. We should just fold now. We just have such little equity, really. I mean, we have 2 overs, but king 9 of spades, we could probably check raise. King 9 with a heart, we could check raise or check call. Yeah, I don't like this call. And we just get this turn improve, but like now on this river, we just have like a random hand and we just kind of have to bluff. And I have no idea how often it's going to work, but we like really have to. I think like half pot or 2/3 is probably good. This is a little too big. It's probably going to work at much smaller sizes. But here we are. Apologies, have a correspondence going on my phone. If I don't cut this out, then sorry. Okay, next hand, Queen 9 suited limp. Again, we've said this multiple times. I'd probably raise, but this is okay. Get led into and just have to fold, unfortunately, even though we have a good amount of backdoors. Have to fold check to into a jam, obviously. Limp to limp jam looks good. Similar to the ace 3 of diamonds that we had, but he just checks. And now we check. I think we just fold here. Yeah, looks good. Again, I'd probably be raising, but once we limp, we're definitely calling off. Just no choice here. Hand's too good. You can jam a lot of worse ace-x. Scary run out, but we do win. So kind of nice one there. And then a raise from button, and we have a very easy jam with 10s. They just fold though. Kind of nice that now that they've been opening that bigger size, we finally get to capitalize on it with something. I think we could just limp this. I don't know. I don't think we need to fold. I think we could limp. I mean, okay. I mean, I'm not going to keep saying that I have to min raise, but I guess we just stab small. Yeah, it looks good to me. Just get this in. He folds again. Very nice. Really important pickups here. We're now kind of closing in on chip lead. This looks good. I think we can get some other king X to fold that dominates us. So I like that. Again, I'd probably min raise, but whatever. And now we have to awkwardly fold. Probably just fold. I don't really like this. We're just going to get like pretty dominated here pretty often. There's not a ton of boards that we love with 7-6 offsuit, and we just call. We could probably just jam this pre, but it's fine. I would probably also bet flop small. Our entire range is just crushing this board relatively. In a limped pot, this opponent should just go all in with like a lot of ace-x, maybe all of it. But check. Now we go for value. I like this. Sizing seems okay. We could probably go bigger though. And river 4, we can get called by like any worse king by an 8. Maybe I like 4x of diamonds sometimes. Size is okay. Could probably go slightly bigger, but we do get value, so that's a really nice pickup. Kind of getting back into contention with chip leader. Fold to king deuce offsuit looks good, and they busted on that hand. So we're down to heads up. I'm gonna treat the heads up as a separate video just because this is getting long, and I need to run to a call. So we're gonna call it there, and then we'll pick right back up where we left off. For the heads up, which of course is a little bit of a different beast. So hopefully that is going to be enjoyable for you guys, and we will get into it then. See you later.